FMC and MC because I'm so bad at remembering names. What are their names? He's like, you're mine. She's like, you've literally known me for about 2 minutes. You know what? I don't trust this, which fair enough. Like, I am not giving you a toe for straight teeth. Not gonna happen. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing well. So for today's video, I thought I'd go through all the books that I've recently read, what I've been reading at the moment, because we're currently near enough 2 months into the year. Yeah, January, February, near enough 2 months in the year, but we're in the second month. It's been a while since you guys last saw me. I've literally haven't posted on the channel for months, so I thought I'd sit down and go through all the books that I've recently read in the past couple of weeks, because I'm finally out of book slump and I feel like I can get through books a lot easier as well. If you didn't already know, I do run my own online romance bookstore called InkBoundPages. If you do want to check it out, it'll be in the link down below. All these books that I'm going to talk about in today's video, you can pick up from my bookstore, and because I run my own bookstore, I need to read more. I need to get through books so I can talk about books. So yeah, we've had quite a decent start to the year. I think I've read like 11 books this year, which compared to like 2 years ago, I think I was at this point like around like 30 books into the year. I used to read so much. I used to get through a book every like day or two. Not me now because I am working, but I thought I'd go through all the books that I've recently read. We've got a mix of everything. We've got contemporary romances, dark romance, fantasy romances, sports romances, a mix of everything. So I thought I'd sit down and go through them. If this is the first time you clicked on my videos interested in book content like this, I also am going to film more like fashion content, lifestyle content. I'm going to try to film on here a lot more than I do now. I do also have my own business YouTube channel, which is InkBoundPages, if you want to check that one out as well. So I have got 2 YouTube channels. If you want to subscribe to that one, it'll be a link down below. And then of course, please subscribe to the channel as well if you're interested in book content, like this video. And yeah, let's get straight on to the video. The first book was actually a recommendation from someone, and it's The Endless Fall by Emerson Hoyt. So I was on my TikTok live and a girl came on who I'm now friends with, and she was like, I've heard amazing things about this book. Try it out and see and let me know. So I was like, okay, it seems right up my alley. It is like a secret society small town romance. I thought the blurb looked good. It is first book of duet, so I was like, oh my god, like what if it ends up with a massive cliffhanger, and I love it so much. And let's just say I absolutely love this book. So The Endless Fall by Emerson Hoyt. This one is a small town romance. It is a brother's best friend, and it follows your 2 main characters, and they never really got on when they were younger. Years later, the MMC ends up coming back to the small town that he used to live in, trying to get custody of his sister, and they end up reconnecting the 2 main characters, even though they didn't get along when they were younger, and the MC ends up moving in with the FMC's family. I cannot remember these characters' names for the life of me. I'm saying FMC and MC because I'm so bad at remembering names. What are their names? Willa and Riker. I was never gonna remember that. So Riker ends up moving into Willa's family, and it kind of goes from there. And there's like a secret society going on in this town. There are weird things happening, and it's so good. You have such great slow burn between the characters. There's great romance and plot mix. I love Riker, top tier book boyfriend, and I absolutely ate this book up. I think I gave it like a 4.25 star. Like, it was so good. I don't know when the second book's coming out. I think it's coming out later on this year or sometime around there. But yeah, absolutely love this one. As you see, no one talk about it. So yeah, The Endless Fall by Emerson Hoyt. Amazing. Literally the book I finished yesterday was Still Into You by Erin Connor. Now this one's a musician romance. I don't tend to read musician romances, but if you know me, you know that I love Katie Patrick from the Boys Thomas series, and I'm most excited for Feeling 12. So I kind of wanted to read a musician romance that kind of gives their type of vibe. So I picked this one up. This is a new release as well, so I wanted to read it to do some content on it. As I said, all the physical books you can get on our bookstore. The Endless Fall I wanted to get in, but I couldn't because some indie published books I can't get in, but all the traditionally published books I'm going to talk about you can get on my bookstore. Link will be down below. I'll link all the books. So Still Into You is a sexual romance between Dax and Salone. They had a situationship a few years ago, and Dax is in one of the biggest bands in the world. Salone is a music journalist, so she ends up working for Dax's band. So it's like a false proximity romance, and I really enjoyed this. Set in like 2010, so it's got a different type of vibe. Musician romance, very fun, and I had a really good time with this book. I gave it a 3.75. A lot of things that I would have preferred. So for example, I wish we got the MC's point of view Dax. There is talk of addiction in this book, and I would have liked his point of view of it as well because he is sober, but we got a bit of a talk about his addiction, but I would have liked that in his point of view. And not just that, we only got like one flashback scene of them 3 years ago, and I feel like they constantly talked about what they were to each other all those years ago, but we never saw it. So I would have liked to see some flashback scenes, but except from that, I really liked it. I thought the ending was perfect. It is more like rom-com style book, so if you'll like that, I think you'll like this book. Then we have Anarchy Inheritance, which I finished a few days ago. So this one is a dark academia romance. This one I picked up, and this one's another like newer release. I think it came out beginning of January. So this one follows Ellery and what's his name? Ellery and Hudson. So Ellery attends this Ivy University, and she is keep getting deja vu. So there's like weird things that's going on, and she doesn't understand like what is the reason behind this. So she ends up getting help by Hudson, who is her academic rival at this university, and they end up like working together, trying to figure out what is happening. So there's dark academia, there's also like paranormal fantasy elements to this book as well. Now I did actually go ahead and like switch between reading this and listening to it. I ended up giving it like a 3 star. I thought the setting was really interesting, but my problem with this book was just how hard it was to understand. I did not understand anything that was going on at all. Near the end, there was just like so much happening that it was getting, as I said, just a little bit confusing for me. Part of the romance, which you kind of learn later on in the book, I was a bit like, about. So yeah, it was a 3-star. It was an alright read. I did enjoy it. I was just kind of confused like 90% throughout this book, I've got to admit. While I was reading Non-Anarchy Inheritance, I did go ahead and finish The Dark Force Duet by Kay Morinova. So I read the first book back in like November, and then I read the second book literally last week. So I kind of wish that I didn't have a massive gap between reading the 2 books. I would say massive gap, it was like 3 months, because I got to admit, starting the first book, I forgot what happened at the end of book 1. Certain characters I did forget. So with Kay Morinova, her dark military romances, I'd say read Leave Behind first, which is her standalone, and then you go into The Dark Force Duet. So you have Your Knife, My Heart and My Blade, Your Back. So My Blade, Your Back just continues on from Your Knife, My Heart. So these ones are, I said, dark military romances. They follow Cameron and Emery. Cameron is a psychopath. He's on these like drugs in this military camp that makes him very unhinged. He can't feel physical pain like whatsoever. She has 2 options, so it's either go to the military camp or go to prison. She chooses the military camp, and she is assigned as Cameron's new partner. And there's one rule: do not unalive the new girl. So it kind of goes from there. Your force proximity, you have like the 1 bed trope. The first book is more like the Hunger Games type of feel, because there's like an arena. The second book I'd say was a lot more plot driven, and I feel like the first book was more like romance driven, I would say. So I ended up giving this one a 3.5 star. I feel like it was slow to begin with, and I did enjoy it. I said I really like this duet. It's just very fun, fast paced. Cameron is top MC. He literally calls her darling and love, which is like my favourite nicknames. He's also English, so I did enjoy it. I just wish the ending wasn't as rushed. I feel like we built the plot up for the ending to be rushed in like 5 pages. Like that's literally how it felt. So except from that, I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 star, but I'd say I did definitely prefer the first book. I gave the first book a 4 star, and I gave this one a 3.5. So we have The Wildcard by Stephanie Archer. This is the 5th and final book in the Vancouver Storm series. So this series I've really enjoyed. They are very fast-paced hockey romances, interconnect standalones. Every single book follows different couple. So this one follows Jordan and Tate. So Tate is the coach on the hockey team, which I love when we get the coach's book. So this one is an age gap. Jordan is the owner's daughter, and Jordan doesn't have a good relationship with her father. So it ends up being a false proximity type of situation, because the dad, the owner of the hockey team, wants to sell the team, and Tate is like, no. So him and Jordan end up like working together to try to win the Stanley Cup, so he doesn't go ahead and sell the team. Jordan ends up living in the guest house, and Tate is also a single dad. So it kind of goes from there, and I enjoyed this book. I think I give it like a 3.75. I thought it was just a great ending to this series. I'd definitely say the third book is still my favourite, which I feel like is a very unpopular opinion, but I really enjoyed the third book. But this one I'd say is probably like my 3rd favourite in the series. I enjoyed it. You have much more of a slow burn in this book, I'd say, compared to the others. I loved seeing the hockey team try to put Jordan and Tate together. They were Cupid trying to match them together, so I really enjoyed that, and I just thought this was like a perfect end to the series. And then we have A Killer Kind of Romance by Letizia Larini. This one follows Scarlett and Raphael. So Scarlett and Raphael, they knew each other when they were younger. They were next door neighbours, and Scarlett always had a massive crush on Raphael. Now Raphael was more on like the bad boy in the town, and years later Raphael ends up returning to the small town, and there are these murders in this town, and the MC Raphael is kind of like the main suspect, and it kind of goes from there. It's more of like a second chance, but it's not really a second chance. They both liked each other when they were younger, but nothing kind of happened. I feel like it's more like girl falls first, guy falls harder as well, and I enjoy this book. I don't remember what I gave it. I did enjoy this book. Did I give it 3.5 or 3.75? I gave it 3.5 star. I thought it was very quick and easy. There's quite a lot of funny moments in this book, but you also have depth as well with it, because both Raphael and Scarlett, they have depth with their characters. What I really loved about this book as well is that each chapter you have a different like trope. So it's kind of like you have the bookstore trope, you have, let me just see, the problem trope, and it kind of explains different micro tropes, which I thought was really interesting. And then I read The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This is a fantasy romance that I've heard amazing things about. This one is set in the 1840s, and it follows your FMC, Ivy. Is that her name? Ivy? Ivy, yeah. So Ivy's sister ends up disappearing, and she returns 2 weeks later, but she's acting a little bit weird. It's set in London, and there's like a high society. So Ivy ends up getting this opportunity to go to the Queen, and with this immortal queen, you end up giving something in exchange for something else. So let's say you end up giving a toe in exchange for straighter teeth. It's like that weird. So Ivy, she ends up going to the Queen, but she doesn't end up like giving her anything or whatnot, because she's like, you know what, I don't trust this, which fair enough. Like, I am not giving you a toe for straighter teeth. Not gonna happen. It ends up being a bit of like a competition to be in arranged marriage with the immortal queen's son. But then you have a bit of a love triangle, because Emmett, who is the immortal queen's son's brother, without being biologically related, he ends up working with Ivy. So Ivy can marry Bram to take over from the Immortal Queen. It is a bit of a love triangle, but you know who you root for from the very beginning. I gave this book like 3.5 to a 3.75. I did enjoy it. I felt like the plot twist I didn't anticipate whatsoever. I think the second book comes out in July as well. So yeah, 3.5 to like a 3.75. I did go ahead and carry on with the Soldiers of Bedlam series by Paisley Hope. So this one is Dove. This is the second book. So you have Wolf, which is the first book, and this one is Dove. I read Wolf like ages ago. I think I read it when it was self-published. So this one came out at the beginning of the year, so I decided to read it when it got traditionally published. Again, had a bit of damage on it, as you can see, so I decided to keep this copy for myself. Paisley Hope is an author by author for me. I feel like her books are just very fast-paced. I think if you're a book slump, her books are very quick, and I've really enjoyed like every single one of her books. This is the second book after Wolf, but this book is actually set before Wolf, so I'd say maybe just read them in publication order, but I feel like you might be able to read this one before reading Wolf if you want to. This one follows Layla and Sean. So Sean is in this motorcycle club, and he is instantly obsessed with Layla when he meets her. So they meet at Layla's workplace, and he's like, "You're mine." She's like, "You've literally known me for about 2 minutes." And Layla's parents got unalived a couple of years ago, so she's trying to figure out what happened with them, and it kind of goes from there. So this one is very much insta lust, and the first book was very insta lust as well. I am someone that I'm not a fan of insta lust books. I'm not a fan of insta whatever between them, and that is why this series will never be a high rating for me, because I love a slow burn, I love a build up, I love the angst tension. So I ended up giving this one a 3.5 star because I just feel like I wanted that angst tension and we did not get it at all. But I said with Paisley Hope, I'll read anything that she comes out with, especially a cowboy romance series. I love her cowboy romance series, so I feel like the series has been just like okay for me. I feel like Wolf and Dove were like on equal playing fields. I think I like them both equally, but I am very excited for the next book that's coming out. I think that book's coming out more like the middle of this year, and I feel like the covers of these are just getting prettier and prettier. Like, one thing I'd say, the covers are absolutely stunning for these books. They remind me a bit of like Victoria Wilder. Her Bulbin and Boy series kind of similar to that. So yeah, gave this one a 3.5 star. And the final book I want to talk about in this video is In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. So this is the fourth and final book in the When in Rome series, I think it's called. So I actually skipped the first book, but I read the second, third, and now the fourth. So every single book in the series follows a different sibling in this family. So this one is Madison's book with James. Madison ends up leaving New York to go back to a small town, and it's romance between her and James. So they were friends growing up. James's parents were best friends with Walker's parents, so they've kind of known each other since they were younger, and James has always had a massive crush on Madison and kind of ended up falling for her when they were teenagers. But Madison has kind of never thought that she saw James in that way until years later, and it ends up being a forced proximity situation. They end up working on a restaurant together as well on James's farm. I did enjoy this one. I gave it 3.5. I definitely say this is my least favourite in the series just because Madison did annoy me at times, and I would say that the romance didn't connect with me as much as I wanted it to. I loved seeing the side characters. I love the setting. There's really, really funny characters in this town that you get introduced to as well, which I really enjoyed. So definitely say the third book, as I said, is my favourite because I love that one. I think it's Beg, Borrow, Steal, and that one was like academic rivals, forced proximity, neighbours. It was very, very fun. I loved that one. But in this one, I just didn't connect to the characters as much as I wanted to. But yeah, still get it 3.5 star. I feel like talk about all these books. I feel like I gave so many of these books 3.5 star. I am a very picky rater. Like, I'm saying I enjoyed a book, but people probably think you literally gave it 3.5 star. But in my head, a 3.5 star is like in between like I liked it and loved it. Like in my head, so it's like I really enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the best book, but I feel like this year so far, I've had just a lot of like decent reads. The Endless Vault is still currently my favourite book of this year, which I literally read like a month ago, so we'll see if anything beats that. But yeah, I really did enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments down below what videos you want to see on this channel as well, because I don't really know what to film, so let me know. And then, as I said, please make sure you check out my bookstore, link down below if you're a romance reader. Make sure you check us out. We've got a mix of so many different romance books, literally hundreds of titles on the website that you can check out. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my InkBoundPages YouTube channel as well, which will again be linked down below. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a brand new video. Bye guys!